Okay, so Hanamura changes. I can't stress enough for everybody that casually plays, instead of fighting in lane the whole time, XP from camps in the early game is insane. Hanamura, the vision camps are worth a ton of XP, and it's only when you cap it, not when you kill things, so you can always steal XP. The Sentinel and the Engineer camps have had their XP and their XP scaling values adjusted to grant more overall XP. This was also one of the things in early Hanamura. The Sentinel camp previously was worth a ton of XP in the very early game. It always made sense to just sneak off in lane because they were so close to your side. You should still look to do this. They're very important in terms of XP. The recon camps have had their kill and capture. Okay, so slightly less overall. This is the same for like most camps in the early game. You can get an experience. Mopsio just subscribed, courtesy of Merlin's Ghost, bringing in the gift here. Mopsio, welcome to the J House, where we go full beast mode on Diablo and Garrosh here as well, except I'm not the one playing it. All right, there's a lot of changes here. I haven't read all of them. I skimmed through. I don't know the support changes. I looked at the Sergeant Hammer change. I talked to a few people during our interview session right before this. The general consensus is that it should be enough. I'm not entirely convinced. Fully it's enough, but I'm hoping it's enough because Sergeant Hammer meta tilts the hell out of me. A lot of warrior changes, so we'll talk about each of these as we go through. I don't think there's anything crazy. It looked like mostly health buffs to the majority of these, and then Urel making sure that she actually has mana cost, I guess. But let's go through this. So Chromie, I don't think she's entirely dead, but as you've seen, like now, even completing your baseline, I'm actually going to load this up so we can go in. Even completing your baseline Q quest, the damage output, it's nice, but it's just not there. You're not killing anybody. I think people are still struggling to adapt to moving into auto attack range, so they're continuing to benefit this. Dragon's Breath, you should be sidestepping this every step of the way. So like 9 or 8 seconds, it doesn't matter. It's just numbers for her. It's nice to have this. It gives you more opportunities, but a lot of it is still changing people's mind on how to play Chromie. A max range Chromie is still not what you want to be. Look at that. Everybody's excited about the Dignitas defeat at the hands of Mopsio and team. The bonus echo damage. So this will help. I really can't see... Like, the W nerfs are so bad that they have actually made this easier. And this is still the number 1 choice. Hitting your W is so hard. Like, even if you hit your W, you better be going temporal loop. And even then, it's like, you know. Your Q damage and then the bonus damage from your Sandblast going up to 50. This should pretty much always be the pick now. It even outweighs the value of these two, mounting sand. So they're giving it some love. I don't know if it's enough, and the auto attack bonus is still strong. Just remember you have to hit stuff. But the W is basically a dead talent, unless they change like the cast time on that as well, because your Q is actually easier to land now because of the faster cast time. But unless they make the visibility of that W a little less for people, then you should still be able to dodge it. Cooldown reduced. This isn't too bad. The Mobius Loop, given your level 5 options like Dragon's Breath and Mobius Loop. So this is not bad in the sense that you get, what, 5 seconds now on your W, so you can spam these out. But Chrono Sickness and Dragon's Eye are probably still your go-to. It's all about Q build for Chromie and then auto attacking, but changing your mindset that you need to auto attack and be in range. Remember, like, they gave her good range on her autos, and so now they're giving her a little more health to make sure you can walk forward and not feel too scared. This is the one I'm really excited about, team. Like, this is the one I'm excited about. Nothing will change. Lol. I hate to agree, but we'll get there in a second because I probably do agree. Hammering. When they made the change on your quest at level 1 to get mana back on heroes, I thought that was cool. You still do run into mana issues in in a normal like solo lane situation or just most situations overall. So taking away some of the mana cost, there was a joke on Reddit, and it's like, do you remember back in the day when balance patches were based around like mana instead of all the crazy number tuning, and it was really just about mana cost? And there would be times where you'd see like just minor changes on mana. Oh, by the way, we got to talk about the Kerrigan one. I browsed through that this morning. I'm super conflicted on Kerrigan right now. I'll tell you guys why. We'll get there in a second. We're going to cover the balance patch first, but I'm super conflicted. I haven't read the Brightwing one, but I'm super conflicted. I did some quick math in my head, and I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it, but we'll talk, and that's just baseline. I think her 16 talent tier spike is pretty wild. We'll see. Lightning Rod. W build is insane. W build has one of the single highest damage output abilities in the game. When you get all procs on this, it's one of the highest damage output abilities in the game. So like going W build with the level 1 is actually pretty neat now. Both of these instantly become better talents. Seasoned Marksman is still always going to be really good. But both of these, if you like to play these like I do, they just became better. And then W build just became better. Barrel Roll, you know, they adjusted all the mana costs basically for the cooldowns, which is fine. But there was nothing changed here. If you're going to buff the rest of his like base kit, then you sure as hell better make sure you nerf his global, because if you're really too strong in team fights and you have a global, you're pretty broken. So I like these changes. I think this is a good trade-off. 5 seconds. In most games, you'll never notice this, but in a lot of competitive games, like that's actually very important. So I don't think most people are going to notice this, but these things are all really good. I will most definitely be playing more Q and W build. W build is probably the most intriguing. Like going W build and you get the passive on this, and now you're talking about 10 seconds, and it's always good to go like some of these other talents and boomerang. Like it actually makes sense to go W build, like full W build, if you go that route. Like if you get the 7 and 13 of W, like on a 10-second cooldown, that shit's wild, man. It's wild. You're gonna really enjoy that part. She's okay. Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. Phoenix Salvo. I'm more than okay with this. You guys have seen on my Smurf, like I can just like spam abilities, and then a 75-second salvo is pretty strong for something that targets such a wide area. If they're gonna give it this treatment, we'll see if they do that to Deckard. I didn't read his patch notes, but I think Stay a While and Listen needs to be nerfed. Genji's Swift Strike. I'm okay with this. It's a skill shot. But when you can rip through people's health bars, they continue to nerf Genji. This still doesn't solve the Genji problems, like at all. This still does not solve the problem with Genji. All the minor tunes help, and I'm looking at this strictly from competitive. This helps, but this does not solve the core of Genji problems. But I'm okay with Genji nerfs, even though you guys know I play the shit out of Genji. Lightning Nova. So this is one that I'm not gonna have a ton of input on, other than personal experience and not like the competitive view of things. Since we won't get Mephisto till this weekend. His W is where the majority of his power lies. When they did the highlight video from Mephisto, they're like sustained damage, and by all means, with his trait, he puts out a lot of sustained damage. His Q build has a lot of sustain. But like it doesn't feel impactful. And I think in a competitive environment, a Q build would feel impactful. But when you have the ability to dish out serious damage with your W, you now shift your focus from I'm doing poke damage, but in reality, I'm just waiting for me to get that one big play, which with the W, it's pretty easy to pull off with your shade. So I'm okay with the damage nerfs. The damage bonus is okay, because getting those ticks and tracking somebody down, it feels super oppressive because you can't stand there, you can't turn and trade, you either have to step into it, which puts you in an area, and if you're trying to walk away from it, and let's say Mephisto, like I do, like the armor's good at 7, but if I pick the movement speed, you can't run away from me, so then you have to step into me, and it makes it very hard to A-move in the middle of that. I'm okay with the damage bonus being reduced, and then if there's any amount of CC and I'm proccing this, like, you know, good luck. Consume Souls. There's going to be a lot that goes into this in terms of complaints, and I think it's justified. 40 to 25% I'm okay with. how they handle this ability going forward is another story. I really am okay with the speed increase because I've tried casting this multiple times, and I'm like, God, this is not fun, and the range is not fun. I don't think they need to buff its root or its damage to try and compete here. This is a skill shot, but the speed and the range on it was so terrible. This might, I don't know if this necessarily breaks it. A 2.5 second root is pretty OP. And the damage is now very strong, given that it's AoE damage. I think that's the one thing you got to remember is, like, if it spreads to other people, the duration, the 250 damage, it's less than a Twilight Dream, but a 2.5 second root and comboing it with any other ability is pretty good. Damage bonus. Okay, so here's the thing about Q build. Q build just never felt good. By the way, my Mephisto games are on my Smurf, not on this one, so don't look at my level 1. I've actually played the hero. This never felt good even when you finished it. Every other thing was so much more valuable. But this being buffed, it's highly unlikely you're going to go... I mean, basic attacks hit the near... This actually has very good splash radius. Like, this splashes really well, and it synergizes with this, which was one of the first things I had to test. I thought that was pretty neat that they did that, because very rarely do you get the battle momentum with splash autos. Tracer's Ricochet does it, and at times Kerrigan's level 4 was bugged out and would do it, but that was always fixed. So it does bring up some intriguing play styles. I don't know the damage throughput of this, but this definitely helps because this was not good. Like 60 damage just felt super insignificant. I don't know if that will still take over any of the other stuff, honestly. Both of these are really good, depending on how you want to play. Static barrier, dude, we all know that if you hit a couple people, the shield on this was pretty wild. So that's good. Yeah, it got super buffed. Lightning reaction. What is that's off your, if you hit the Q in your W? Yeah. I didn't really see that be on the one. This was interesting because the way it reacts is because it's within the radius. And I know a lot of people came out and they're like, oh, I'm not doing damage, but your W hits on the outer rim and not the inside part. But this is within its radius. I still really like Animosity. Like, Animosity to me can be really fun. Pairing it with your Mimic here is pretty neat at 20. Mimic at 20 is really cool. Shade Lord having the activatable. Because you get the all of these, it's really funny because the one thing that I think some people need to remember is, like, your E can also act as a budget calamity. Like, it does damage, so you can use it for various things that do damage, but very rarely, because most of the time you're trying to land abilities, and most notably your W in a lot of circumstances, is you're not necessarily going to E on top of a target if you're wanting to W them. I don't know. I haven't really seen the playmaking of this. When Mimic is so strong and then, you know, consumed by hatred. Yeah. But we actually get pre-nerfed Mephisto this weekend, and then we'll get to see some hell unleashed. Nova buffs are always intriguing. I just don't know how you can ever not go long shot. I don't know. I don't know why this is buffed. I guess if you like to play that way, then go for it. I got nothing for you on this one, team. Like, if you go this just because you like the spam abilities and you're going to be out of mana, I don't know about this. It's a thing. It's a thing for some people. Perfect shot. Like, it's her only escape. The fact that they gave her, like, the baseline, like, activatable 1 ability, I would argue against that. Just remember, you have to be stealth for 2 seconds. if I'm not revealing you within 2 seconds, like, I've clearly done something wrong. Like, you should be able to escape within 2 seconds in some fashion. If I can't track you down within 2 seconds, I'm pretty bad. Or you just juked the shit out of me and did a very good job with your E and your 1. Perfect shot. You know, I can see the appeal in some of this. You know, hitting various points of this. I still just think that 1 in the chamber is so strong. The 1 in the chamber double tap. They nerfed this, right? Like in a recent patch from like 25 to 20. If I'm not mistaken, this was nerfed. I think it was when we were on one of our trips, though. So it did nerf this. I actually haven't played this since it was nerfed. I almost forgot that happened. I don't think that was significant enough. That's where Nova one-shots you towards the end of the game. The balance patch goes live on Wednesday, but the balance patch is live on the PTR, which is live now. But the Kerrigan and Brightwing reworks, as well as the map rework, won't be active until most likely next Tuesday. But the balance patch that I'm going over now will be active on Wednesday. I guess if you go the 7 and 16 combo, it's somewhat appealing. I'll test it just for the lulz, but I don't know if you're one of those dirty Nova pickers. Basic attack damage. I mean, Raynor's pretty strong right now. I have him in tier 1 on most of my maps on my tier list. Yeah, I like her in quick match too. Oh, that was in April? Damn, that was a long time ago. What are my thoughts on anti-armor shell? It's bad. It's bad. Is as bad as Nova is in most circumstances, her auto attack speed, you can stand and trade with just autos, but you're built in your mind to come out of stealth, try and get the blow up, land your skill shots, and then walk away. Nova's not terrible when it comes to her auto attack speed. The minute you take away that, you are fully committed to... you need somebody else at this point to pair with you. Doing the bonus damage, you've now gone full burst, but you're decreasing the physical armor of heroic targets, which means that you now have to wait much longer to auto attack. And that's not where you want to be as a Nova. It's just walking away and then hoping to auto attack somebody before they walk away. You could say that if you have another auto, I mean, I don't know, hell, dive with an Illidan if you want to play this, but no, it's bad. Here's the one we've kind of all been waiting for. Sergeant Hammer. This shit has broken the meta for almost 3 months now in competitive play. Mind you, I actually really like the old Sergeant Hammer. She was like one of the best like A-move heroes you never siege up. But this on a 12-second cooldown, because you get 25 armor outside of siege mode and 50 armor in siege mode, and then the level 4 unstoppable talent, it's pretty busted. So now, shifting out of siege mode now removes the unstoppable effect. According to people I talked to, this should help. 16 seconds is the difference between 12 and 16 seconds when you talk about cycling abilities and CC in competitive is super important. 4 seconds is a long time. And going from 12 to 16 is very noticeable. But the issue has never really been the unstoppable effect coming out of siege mode. It's the fact that you can use it. I don't know. I'm hearing that it should be enough. I personally am super conflicted on this being the solution for now. Doesn't do it for me. Doesn't do it for me. I'm still not sold. This is coupled with this might make it enough. One of these by itself would not be enough. Dickard. Always wondered about this. So 135 shield versus 108 over 4 seconds, but you also get mana. 135 shield was nice. So if you're not going to nerf his healing on his you know, base ability, which is actually really nice. They did it not too long ago. They did nerf it, I think, at Western or after Western or right before Western. Hell, I don't know. They did nerf this, but the shield always gives you that more survivability. So what is this? So about a 10% nerf. So it's not the worst. Deckard's still pretty busted. This right here, I don't think that we do a good enough job of commentators to convey how broken this talent is. It's pretty busted. This is like having a second heroic as Deckard. These are really good in your regular games. But when somebody walks into your team or you catch somebody out in competitive right now and there's a Deckard in the party, if you see that one person, and it's a tank especially, like Deckard presses D, well, they die afterwards. Like, they die pretty quickly. It's like having a second heroic. I still don't understand how this is a thing. It's literally like having a second heroic at level 13. Ancient Blessings is that OP. So moving it to a 60-second cooldown is essentially saying that, yeah, this is pretty much the same value as a heroic. It's still busted. Like, this is still busted. It's just not as frequently. But all it takes is one kill in competitive to change the game. July 25th? Okay, so it was right before. But I don't know if that patch was available at the Clash. That was the thing. I think that's the thing. Is like it was nerfed, but I don't remember if that was available at the Clash. Have they given you the BlizzCon rundown? No. And if they did, I probably couldn't tell you. So maybe they have. You'll never know. Tyrande, no mana issues. Yeah, that was a thing right out of the gate. So they'll bump up her mana, nerf her healing. This was her healing, if I'm not mistaken, prior to the rework. It went from 265 to 275, or maybe 260 to 275. Either it's back to 265. Yeah, before rework, sieging up as a Sergeant Hammer used to, like, drive me wild because it was like, no, like you're a better hero when you're not sieged. Critic Kitten is happy about the mana changes. I think this should definitely help. The bonus range on this, I still think this is way too much. Like 30% I'm okay with. If it didn't give extra damage, then 40% is okay. The fact that it gives extra damage, 40% is too much. That was 270 to 275? Okay. So somewhere in there. Appreciate it, team. True Shot. I thought this was really good. You just see Lunar Blaze in competitive for poking, and if there's CC anywhere near and you can't step to it, like it's just easy to land. But for a lot of situations, I think True Shot's pretty OP. So I think this nerf was necessary. Elun's Chosen. I don't know, like, I saw a thing about, like, how it could heal through. It could heal through a VP. I don't think that's intended. That might be a bug. Shadowstalk, that's cool. This is fine. Like, I still think this is pretty decent for her level 7s. The movement speed, I'm okay with this. 20% movement speed is pretty good. And the fact that you have 2 charges of it, you can constantly give movement speed through autos. I'm okay with that. The Darnassian Archery. Where were we on that again? Oh, that was the auto attack one, yeah. I don't know. Like, 6 seconds, you can continue to auto enough in 6 seconds. I don't think this is anything too crazy. Like, it's good. It's less forgiving to AFK and walk around and then come back on auto and walk around and come back on auto. Like, you should be more active than that anyways. I'm okay with this. I think this is pretty significant here, the healing reduction and the mana cost. We'll see how that takes place. Tyrande definitely came out hot. White Mane has been pretty strong, so healing on that. The Lash cooldown. What do they do to her 16? Does it still take it down to 1 second? Right? That's all it says is it takes it down to 1 second. Yeah. So healing him out, I'm okay with that. White main healing in burst situations is pretty wild. This helps, I think, in a lot of circumstances. Darn Ashes. Dang, that's savage. Yeah, her level 1s are pretty wild for Tyrande. Like, they were already really crazy at level 4, and I really wondered why nobody picked them before, or why Tyrande wasn't picked before. 2 CCs in his base kit is very much a point. The Sapphire in competitive is really strong. I think they could nerf the slow on that, honestly. So those are things to consider. Wait, does anybody go these talents? Do any of you guys even pick this talent? Ain't nothing. Oh my goodness. Look at this buff. Oh, Anubarak just went from pretty decent to broken with this one buff. Like, this might have just broke the game. I'm just playing. I'm kidding. The only thing this might do is incentivize more of your W talents. So essentially you would have a pretty good uptime on your movement speed if you go this. And this was picked yesterday versus an Arthas. But Bed of Barbs and Underking are still really powerful. I think it's this one and this one. So if you actually go chitinous plating at 7 and urticating spines at 13, this is actually sneaky OP. If you're an Anubarak player, you probably already know this. Acid Drench Mandibles is cool. Burning Range is cool. But if you go this, getting a shield is really good. Don't get me wrong. But now that you have a greater uptime on your W and more abilities to use it, like if you're going against slow stuff, right? This it takes enemy abilities, not just like autos, right? But this, with this, is actually really strong. Walk into your enemies and press W and pick those talents and see how they feel after that. It actually, Anubarak allows Anubarak to put a lot of damage. You go fast, but that's only because you're probably spamming a lot of your abilities, like 65 mana. Like, this is 25 mana. Could they bring the mana cost on it down? Sure. But you get Spell Armor, a very short cooldown on your W, and this in the middle of an enemy team. Like, you don't necessarily have to hit your Q as much, which definitely helps. But if I can spam this every 12 seconds... And this does 100 damage, right? The stun is nice. It's more about the stun than the damage. But if I'm getting this every 3 seconds because this gets buffed to 6 seconds and I get full value off this, like, this is a lot of damage, man, for a tank. I promise you. Try it out. Arthas, he now has greater health than Yrel and Muradin. I think he was slightly below both of them prior to this. But this is a pretty big buff to his health pool. I don't, like, in North America, we've seen him lately, but I don't think this probably only further incentivizes teams that have been picking him to pick him even more. I hate his trait, by the way. I wish I had, like, just an automatic ability that would do this for me. It helps his damage output. It's more about the mana retention because Arthas and mana management. I don't like playing Arthas because I don't want to have to manage my mana. And Arthas is very much about mana management. I looked at my screen for the noob hype. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'll play a noob rank just to go that build and show you guys what I'm talking about. Or like we can test it. Yeah, Urel. What the? Wait a minute. There better be some nerfs below this. There better be some nerfs below this. Because giving Blaze even more health and health regen. Oh my. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to believe that there are significant nerfs to other parts of his kit or talents. And when I scroll down, they're going to be there. Wish me luck. Oh no. They better be trying to turn him into an actual tank. Okay. This gives you more tank play. The one thing people fail to realize is Flamethrower does a lot of damage. It does minimal damage individually. But when 3 people hop into a bunker and spray this collectively and you hit, the damage output from a team will snipe people for days. Like, imagine you and 2 other people get in and you spam this. That's 500 damage. 500. My poor butcher says, that's as much as my furnace blast, and I'm just one person. 80 seconds, I'm okay with this. This kind of trades out with his health. Mana cost, okay. Okay. Still need more justification. I can see that this is trying to make him tankier, because when you go your Pyromania, you get 25 armor. What the fuck, man? Like, these are all talents built to make him more into a tank. The changes. But gosh dang, man, that's not what this does. That's not what this does. This makes Blaze broken. Like, you could remove Bunker from the game and this still makes him broken. Holy shnikes. You're making a funny montage? Would I watch it? You're making a funny montage of me. You're making a funny montage of the game. You're making a funny montage of your stand-up comedy. Dude. ETC's down here at 2250 health. Like, moo. Moo. 80 seconds is good. I'm just exaggerating a little. I just don't understand some of the changes to what they just did. They buffed him. And some of his mana issues, he didn't have any. And I'll have to see how much they have an impact, but you can still managing mana. Like, you don't have to manage mana as much if you're winning. Also, this talent works on everything, team. It works on everything. Damn. This is not bringing ETC back. There's too much in the meta going on right now. I mean, you'd have to give him a ton of health, and that would make ETC busted. If you're gonna nerf that, you gotta nerf or buff that. You gotta buff the mana cost. So I spent several hours the other day. You guys will be happy to know. I'll give you a sneak peek before I finalize some things. That I worked with Goku, one of the best solo laners in the world, to finish the solo lane chart. And we have tips all along the way. Goku's stream link, so you can go there and talk to him about stuff. And it's all done. It's all said and done. And special shout out to Goku for contributing his time. That will be coming in the next day or two. You know, I mean, this helps, but I don't think this catapults him into the meta because Urel and Blaze are still busted. By the way, Leo is, if we keep trending in the current state that we're in for the meta, Leo is starting to be on the rise. I don't know. I can't speak on this. She needed some mana cost to be able to spam abilities and have this. Like, that's wild, man. Like, as long as you have mana, you can just spam abilities and heal up. Like, I don't even know what her other level 1 talents do. Shit. Oh, yeah, and we updated our meta stuff. Speaking of Tyrael, check this out. 3-21 in North America in 24 games for a 12.5% win rate. Whew, shit. These buffs can't come soon enough. Okay, that's it. Fixing it. Yeah. Oh, they fixed the disintegrate one. That's good. I'm gonna hop over to the PTR. If you guys want to play, join the JHow chat on the PTR. Oh wait, oh no, never mind. Hold on, I'm not gonna do that yet. I've got to talk about the Kerrigan, and Brightwing stuff. Hold on, we're not doing PTR yet. We still got to cover the craziness. I'm actually really scared that the garden terrors that spawn. I like the change. I love the change. I'm actually gonna bring this up. Hold on. I want to tell you guys a thing. I actually am very happy with the changes outside of the stun. So this is a large battleground. Don't get me wrong. This is also now a Dahaka playground. There are brushes, unless they make changes. Wait, did they remove several of the brushes? Oh, snap. Did they even trim this wall? This is updated. Wow. Holy. They changed a lot here. They removed walls. They removed a lot of the brushes. This is still good for Dahaka. These sidewalls for the camps are really cool. I mean, this is still really cool for fog play in invades. Oh, snap. Like, these are very, very good changes overall. But the one, did they take out the, okay, the knights are still there. So it's really cool because if you hug this wall and sneak into a bush, you have vision. You can invade here, so vision is really important around this area. This isn't as scary, but you now have an invade point from here. But the range on this is large enough. Dude, some of these changes I am already in love with. By the way, after they made all vehicles unstoppable for the change this year, the Garden Terror became the single strongest thing in the entire game. I hope people realize, like, that thing was busted. Zagara with roaches level 1? Infest all day. On this map, I would run Infest and then get the Garden Terror and smack some stuff, and then I'd be like, okay, my Infest is good now. There are multiple camps throughout the entire map. 1, 2, 3 on top, 1, 2, 3 on bottom. That already makes for a lot of serious counterplay options when you consider the, I don't know, tribute spawns, seed spawns, whatever we're calling them. The camps alone can control so much of this battleground. Camp value on this map was already good. Now it goes from good to insane how strong it can be. It's going to be really good for globals and stuff, but looking at some of the wall changes and the fog changes and the brush changes, like this map goes, like, at first glance, I've got to play it, but at first glance, it makes this, like, highly competitive with the way that you can play around fog. I, at first glance, am a major fan of this change. Like, at first glance, I want this in competitive. I want this in my HGC rotation. That's how good I think the changes are. The only thing that scares me is the stun mechanic on the terrors that spawn themselves. I would like them to be AoE slows. I would rather them not be stuns. That in competitive, the fact that they have stuns makes every other stun, or give it like a knockback effect like the Immortal. But when you can put a stun effect on all three in all 3 lanes, I think that's too much. We'll see how that goes. Let's go through here. I don't know what that is. I'll see it later. Kerrigan. Okay. So we're kind of going down the Toronto path. She goes from 1 to 2 charges. The range reduction is pretty insane. Now also refunds 20 mana when used on an enemy that dies within 1.5 seconds. But you don't get your charge back. I don't know if that stays. Do you still get your charge back or no? I think you have to talent into that stuff. So the reason I don't like that. So let's look at the numbers. You know, there's going to be somebody that does other numbers for me, but this was nerfed by 80. This was nerfed by 81, and this was nerfed by basically 90. So it's 80, 80, 90, which is equivalent to 250 damage. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, plus 190, 80, yeah. So it's nerfed by 250 damage. And you don't get the reset on charge baseline. So imagine I only use 1 charge of my Q, and I combo you, and I hit my full combo. I can run after you and get the splash damage of my 180. That does not make up for the 250 damage deficit. So now my combo is QWE Q with a pause on that Q to make sure you get the damage. So my full combo is nerfed by 250. It's made up for with the E damage of 180, which is a net loss of 170. However, or excuse me, of 70. If I Q again, I now try and make up for that with a plus 60. So my combo would be QWEQ. This is just me looking at it for the first time. Q is 50 more, both are used. 50? Am I doing my math wrong? We'll look at more of the talents later. So you have to, it requires a much longer combo and a greater commitment, which puts you at a greater risk. So if you thought Kerrigan was an all-in hero before, just looking at the baseline, it now becomes very much all-in. Because the combo takes longer. You have to commit for an extra 2.5 seconds if you want to get a full combo of value. Else you're doing less than you did before. That's first glance. I'm going to continue to look at this, but if I'm wrong on that, 260 minus 210 equals 50. But if this is 130 times 2, so 260, 180, 440, 465. And then 595. Versus, damn, hold on. I'll have to look at that again later. So 210 plus 260. So it's like, so what is the full combo here? 471, 585. Damn, am I insane right now? Somebody do that. 60 more damage. Yeah, basically you have to double down on your Q. Basically, to get more damage, and before I get like a spreadsheet out and stuff like that, to get more damage on a full combo, I have to QWE, and then if I want to make sure that I'm in range to get this AoE splash, I have to commit 2.5 extra seconds to a full combo and another Q. And I have to hope that I get that kill on the Q so that I get the mana recharge. What's the cooldown on my Q? Why don't I see a cooldown on this? Let me load up the PTR. So I think that's the part that scares me, is that you have to commit not just a combo to get more, but you have to commit an extra 2.5 seconds plus an additional Q. Okay, it still refreshes charges. But it's still an 8-second cooldown. Okay. So let's look at talents and figure out how this becomes less of a problem around her base kit by committing a full 3 to 4 seconds for a full combo of value, because that's actually really hard. And the enemy person is going to get healed up within those 3 seconds, or you're going to get countered within those 2.5 seconds. Splash radius increased from 1.5 to 2. I actually really like the changes. If you guys didn't see that, you get a stun off of it on the initial cast. This makes it far more appealing to track people down, set up kills, be an initiator without initiating with a risky engagement. So now you can initiate from range and make a decision. I think that's very important. This is intriguing to me because I don't know the full numbers on how this will come out yet, but thinking like, man, they've been sitting on this for a while. They could have given her this like 6 months ago. But if you have lower numbers, then, you know, there's a trade-off. I think I should just look at them here. New functionality, siphoning, using Ravage on enemy hero grants an additional 90 assimilation shield. Huh. So her health is... okay. 1680, so 90 health. Whoops. That's not bad. What are her other level ones? Assimilation Mastery no longer increases the duration, in addition to increasing Kerrigan's health and mana regen by 100%, while Assimilation Second also causes regen globes. Huh. That's interesting. Both of these are allowing you more survivability. Getting the initial shield, because it's constantly, you can keep your shield up. Think you'll play Furnace Blast this week? No. Yeah, I'm going to export it over to YouTube afterwards. Yeah, the less range is very impactful. Fury of the Storm. So these are all survivability talents. Move from 7, so you get this off regen globes. This could have an impact on certain maps. I don't know the full math. There's going to be some people that work on that will make it easier to digest. This is not too bad as long as you can keep your shield active. This gives you more incentive for longer team fights. You can prep going into one. But I'm also really curious how this affects her in solo lane trade-offs, which is not necessarily where you want to have Kerrigan. But with her E now giving that splash damage, I really want to see her wave clear now. And giving her a full charge back off this, it actually makes her wave clear. We'll test this. I really want to see her wave clear. Let me go. I just want to see what our wave clear looks like. I know you guys want to hear more about the notes, but I'm really curious how this impacts, because it will impact how I view the hero in the patch notes. This is also somewhat interesting. Oops. I meant to keep them on. It doesn't help. Right, hold on. So this is probably like the worst hero to test this on. Bach, welcome back. I thought you were here before, but welcome to the JHow. Let me not play against the Narthas. Who's pretty standard? I'll go against the Blaze. Welcome to the JHow, where I want to see how this impacts the so. So that's a 37 shield on my autos. He's gonna die to minions. So I haven't taken any abilities. This is kind of silly. I need minions here. Come back, please. Huh.
A pointless display.
I mean, that allowed me to tank a lot. You're not really going to have her in the solo lane, but she's not a bad option, though. Like, I didn't even really cast this to get the splash. And getting the splash in the autos in the minion wave to give you a shield means that you can trade out pretty well. There's a lot to get into with how that works. And, you know, you can probably learn some stuff on how solo lane matchups work when I release this extremely awesome guide that I worked on with Goku. Hashtag plug. Let's see. Level 4 talents. Yeah, the shield generation talents do well to help her survive, but she still suffers from a lot of the same issues that like an Artanis has. The minute you get locked down and CC'd or blinded or you don't have your combo up, then you're in trouble. So how they trade off like her high impact, it might just be more of the same with different playstyle, honestly. Like I don't think it necessarily changes the core mechanics of when you can play the hero and how you can play the hero. Since NA reviews are always Omega lol. Let's see. So every time hitting... So this should be pretty easy to stack. So getting 100 extra damage on your Q, that makes your combo better, okay? That's should be really easy to complete. Like you get 5 extra damage just for hitting a hero? That seems almost too easy. Oh, that die. Okay, so it's like okay. So it's just if they die. But killing a minion is really easy. Like you combo and then it's kind of like a Thrall Echo of Elements. You're just trying to prep it and then get the kill shot and you finish within 3 or 4 minutes. Like it's not a hard one. I can't imagine that's difficult either. She can dart around a lot more than Arthas, probably in this new iteration, but the minute you get CC'd at all, and your shield drops and you can't cast abilities, let's say you get like stunned and blinded, like, you know, you better hope to God that you can get cleansed and have some backup and whatever, but in most games, like, Kerrigans are all in. It's like when you're in, you're in. Maybe this helps the survivability, but there is a risk involved with Kerrigan, and I don't see anything changing that yet. Like, it's not like she turns into, like, super beast tanky. I think I looked at some level 16 talents earlier. It seems like that's a big spike, but the level 1 talents are intriguing in different ways. Damaging an enemy increases the damage of Kerrigan's next Impaling Blade, stacks up to 150%. So you could conceivably, if you're in a lane, like, queue a bunch of minions. Like, if you can get the kill, like, if you land a combo on them and then you're 1 Q away from killing them and you just get reset, and all your mana back, you just Q, and then jump over and land a combo to get this. Maybe on some other maps you can find similar functionality. But it doesn't say that you have to do it with an ability. So you could auto, like Q auto, Q auto. Huh. That's interesting. That gives you a lot of potential if you can just auto, stacking up to 150%, but that was nerfed so much. 150%. Okay, that's actually pretty strong. This is going to be really fun to play with. Like, this actually seems really fun to play. So you could just auto for a while, and the fact that that's banked for 10 seconds, that's actually pretty wild. Primal Grasp deals damage a second time, 2.5 seconds after the initial burst. The initial burst... of the first initial burst? That doesn't sound very fun. This right here seems kind of broken. That's what I'm reading. Like, am I reading this wrong? Like, that doesn't seem like that's where I want it to be. This seems pretty busted. You land a dude, I'm playing this. I'm playing this first. Every time Primal Grasp pull or explosion hits an enemy hero, reduce the cooldown of Ravage by 4 seconds. Casting. So this is similar to Thrall's level 16. As long as you rotate where your Q is. You could bounce around there. That's going to be pretty high skill, but somewhat easy to pull off in a very generic sense. This should still be one of the main go-tos. Like, having bladed momentum in a lane is okay, but having bladed momentum in a team fight is pretty good, and the fact that this works with Fury of the Swarm makes it really good. But this does put you more into the auto attack focus. I think that's really strong. That seems really strong right out of the gates. Excuse me. Kerrigan grants 15 spell armor for 4 seconds for every enemy she hits with Primal Grasp. I mean, if you grab 2 people, that's 30 spell armor for 4 seconds. I don't know if that's enough to have a trade-off for the current meta, since there's so much auto attack, but dealing with those in that situation keeps your shield up longer to sustain through that. As long as you're active, this seems really strong. Like 6 seconds means that you basically... Oh, never mind. Sorry, I forgot this was here. This is like bunker for Kerrigan. This is pretty good. It's good because you can't be targeted and it has a health bar. It's good because you get health per second. But what it's really good for is if you're in that moment where you're like, oh shit, if I get hit by this, I'm dead. It's like a self-cleanse. As long as this is activatable to where you can like hit it and then cancel it, 90 seconds does make it very important. So I like volatile power, but Chrysalis and like those clutch moments is pretty OP. Kinetic works with Fury. So you could splash it. Yeah, I mean, that looks like a very good combo to Fury. And if I'm splashing this in a wave or anywhere, and then I go, where was it? Oh, and I go this. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I really like this talent. I know you're sacrificing the 3 seconds, but the extra shield in a fight where you're potentially always doing damage is important. All of our talents are just so wild. Mounting potency, casting a ravage on an enemy increases Kerrigan's spell power by 5% for 4 seconds. Does anybody know if this impacts this? It should, but does it? Like if I just like Q auto and like kill a bunch of shit and then combo somebody. Oh, okay. Chrysalis? You're looking at it as Chrysalis or Chrysalis? Chrysalis? It's my stream. I make up whatever words I want. Just kidding. After stunning, Kerrigan deals an additional 75 damage the next 6 times she damages them. Damn, that's like playing with the Zeratul 16 talent. So I could get 30% spell power by damaging a hero, or 5% spell power every time I cast Ravage. If I Q onto somebody, I instantly get 30% spell power and combo them, and then I could conceivably Q on them again, and I have 30% spell power to combine with my stacked level 4. Holy hell. I think Kerrigan has a really high damage output now. Oh, with a heroic ability. Oh, okay, never mind. The way I read this is, so they just mean like an ultimate, like a heroic, like a level 10. Okay, so this is good. But this allows you to be all in. Whoops. Because these are still very long. Like you're all in on a single target burst if you go this. But Maelstrom's duration is increased, so if you're against the melee squad, this is intriguing. Blink is still very strong. And getting the shield off this is very strong. I think I like it, but I'm also terrified that a good Kerrigan will destroy me and feed me to Brightwing for lunch. Yeah, the others are passable. This with Fury is pretty neat. But Blink is still pretty insane at 20 for heroes. I'm not gonna lie, Brightwing of all the supports that I play is probably one of the least, and yeah. The damage using so justifying Brightwing as a pick because she has a global and can sit in lane and help goes from bad to worse. You take away what little wave clear she had and you make it worse. The missile speed increase with this functionality, I have to test it, but based on the video that I saw, instantly makes Brightwing a better hero. Like, just off this. Ignore the damage part. Focus on the healing and speed part, and this makes her a far more appealing hero. Like, getting a free Soothing Mist Pulse is really good. The duration of Polymorph. Wow, I didn't know they buffed that. The duration. By the way, Brightwing is a Kerrigan counter. So it's fun to see them both in the same one. Pixie Dust ranged. I mean, that's similar to when we saw the Rhaegar heal range nerfs. It just requires you to be a more active. And I think this helps people that want to play it ranged and allows that it puts her more at risk, but I think it also helps the people that are not already aware of their positioning to move forward and be in range to help their teams. This right here is how do I put this? This is a lot of healing. This is a lot of healing. Brightwing counters Yrel. Lol. Yeah, so the wave clear part is something. That's a pretty heavy dose of healing. This is a lot of extra healing, and getting the extra free pulse is very strong. Soothing Mist. Oh, I didn't see this before that they nerfed it. I don't care about the global time. The healing part is really strong. So that means they took a lot of her Z talents away. But this is still going to be... Oh, and you get an extra 10%? Holy shit. This is... You're going to watch Brightwing hit Z in the middle of a team fight a lot more. Whoo! Brightwing getting some love. Activate to instantly pulse a calming wave, clearing all stun, root, slow, and silence effects from nearby allies. 2-minute cooldown. That's still pretty good. I think it's good that you have that baseline, which means that her 7s are different. Emerald Wind. Oh, see, I was like, dude, if you get a free extra healing off of your Q landing in the center, and you get the extra bonus damage from Emerald Wind, like, that makes it even stronger. So less damage, more AoE control. Huh. That's not bad, but Blink Heal is more appealing now. There's a lot more healing throughput for Brightwing. How long? Does it say how? Why does that tooltip not say how long? If it doesn't, if there's not a duration, that's not a pre-cleanse. Yeah, it can't be a pre-cleanse. This is it can only remove what's after. he used it before the mosh started or after the mosh started. If he used it before the mosh started, then there's something wrong with the programming, because this does not say that it removes it. It shouldn't pre-cleanse unless that's intended. Okay, so you can just like cast out a wave. Okay, it's like casting out a gravity lapse. Like if a butcher's charging you and you're Kael'thas, you can cast a gravity lapse out right because he's unstoppable while charging. But if you cast it out right as he's about to hit you, the gravity lapse will hit him right when the unstoppable wears off, and you're stunned and he's stunned, and you walk away. Just so you know. So that's not a pre-cleanse. That's a pre-cast. I would never call that a pre-cleanse on stream. That's way too generous. That's just a precast of an ability. 50 seconds is nice for control, but blink heal seems really good now, and it saves yourself a lot more than anything. Yeah, this is really strong. Oh, I didn't even realize this. Every minion killed near you lowers the cooldown of phase shift by 2 seconds. Holy shit. Yeah, this is going from good to great with this patch. Hitting an enemy. So you can get this by hitting... So this is something that, you know, when you're playing Brightwing... I mean, if that's how it's working, then they have a... so you can see... Whoops, I have this on a quick cast. Whoops. Ooh, I have it on release. It's kind of a okay, never mind. Okay, I thought that said something. This this tooltip can't be right. Because the tooltip end game said hitting heroes. Yeah, this is supposed to say, I'm gonna say hitting an enemy? That's wild. It's supposed to say hero right here. So this tooltip, or this patch note is wrong. This is supposed to say when hitting an enemy hero, not when hitting an enemy. I was going to say hitting an enemy, I walk in there, I'm like, damn, I get 5 stacks and I can hit 4 people with 1 circle. But Z is still pretty strong. Yeah, so that's not correct. Let's see. Unstable anomaly increases slow amount of polymorph to 40%. When it expires, it explodes in 2% of all nearby enemies' max health and damage. This I thought had a shot in the previous one. This looks good. Let me read this last one. Increase your basic attack range by 20. Both of these are really good. This has more healing throughput. This is if more cleanse is needed. I really like this for poking purposes. And the cooldown reduction, which means more potential heal throughput. This is more for control. And getting the auto attack range helps you do that really easily. The problem with this, increasing your auto attack range, it now forces you, or it now enables you to play further back to heal, or excuse me, to auto attack, but you have to always be considering the range on your AoE for your heal, which is targeted on this. So there is a trade-off. that you have to be more careful. I don't know the exact range of the radius versus this. But if you're 20% further while autoing and you have somebody in the middle of their backline, it'll allow you to auto attack from further away, but you still have to move into an area to make sure you're in range for your trait. So 7, no more cleanse because it's baseline, but a long cooldown. Let's see, Arcane Flare slows heroes by 20% for 3 seconds, or 40%. This is making this look much better. This at 7 makes Stream Shot look even better. This is probably still going to be the normal one in competitive, but the healing output and CC control, because this doesn't say you have to hit in the center. You get 40% if you hit in the center, but just getting a 20% slow for 3 seconds, 3 seconds slow. Three-second slow, cooldown reduction of 2 seconds on an ability that's on a 6-second cooldown, and that could proc my mist. I'm feeling pretty good about that. Ooh, this is really good, though. Both of these are really good. 7 is very intriguing now. For a pleb like me that doesn't play support, I would go Sticky Flare all day. Just because I don't like to worry about all the other mumbo jumbo. The healing output of Brightwing looks really good right now. Oh, interesting. 40% movement speed's pretty strong, but let's see. Increase the duration of Pixie Dust by 1 second. Healing dealt by Brightwing is increased by 25% on targets with Pixie Dust. Let's see. Okay, these are all situational. I think these all are all okay. These are nothing game-breaking, though. I don't think there's anything else at 13. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing crazy. Like, the movement speed is good. The decay is helpful. The healing potential there is good. I mean, you could E, land a pulse, hit a Q, and then that helps a lot. And then spell armor is situational. 16, this is the one that is probably the most intriguing, that this is on a 20-second cooldown. This says 0.5 seconds. This says 0.75, and in the video I thought it said 0.75. One of these has to be wrong. Ooh, hit in the center is silenced for 1 second and deal 25% less damage. Q-Build doesn't look too bad. All of these are good, but phase out on a 20-second cooldown, it's pretty strong. Pretty strong. The blink heal, granted, so blink looks much better now that the added bonus healing on Emerald Wind is gone, but Emerald Wind on a 50-second cooldown does give you a lot of control. So I think both have a spot, but blink heal is really good. Regenerating health while invisible, that's partially on the enemy and partially on you to make sure not to reveal. If you get invisible, it now costs 2. Lower the cooldown of Emerald Wind to 3 seconds. Damn, some of these tooltips are off. To 5 seconds. Is this real? Okay, so this, I was going to say, this red weird, I felt that there had to be something, because it's like heal people that have pixie dust on them, but there was nothing to like spread pixie dust around. Okay, this spreads pixie dust around. That's pretty wild. Ooh, 20% movement speed? Wow, okay. Her 20s are really strong situation.